Welcome to the International School of Tailoring. My name is Reza and this is going to be your second lesson of our How to Make a Bespoke Jacket series. Now, in the last lesson, I covered some of the general tools that you'll need for the journey ahead of us. And although I showed you some of the pressing tools, I'd like to expand on that and show you some additional ones because they are going to be necessary. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what I have in front of me, and then I'll give a brief explanation on how and when they are used, and last but not least, I'll leave you with an assignment. Now, if you're coming back to this video or you want to skip ahead, you can navigate your way through the chapters of this video. Having said that, let's begin. We have a few hams, we have a sleeve board, and we have a point presser. Now, if you look at these, they all have a few things in common. The first thing is that they are all elevated. The second thing is that they are all rounded around the corners and the edges, apart from the point presser, of course. And the third thing is that they all allow us to focus on a relatively small area. Now, we need elevation because our garment becomes more and more complex as we construct it and build it further. And as soon as your garment becomes too complicated to lay flat, that's when you need to have a tool like this so that you can rest it on top, position it, and only work on the specific areas that you need to work on. So, for example, if I'm working on the collar of a jacket, that's one of the most complex areas because you have the shoulders, then you have the back and the front panels all together, plus you have the round neck circle. Therefore, I will need a round elevated area to rest it on top and to just focus on the collar without crushing or distorting all the other parts. The general idea for hams is for them to reflect or represent a very simplified version of the body. So for example, if you look at this ham, this weird shaped ham, it actually is a simplified version of 1/4 of my body. And this is of course very important because if you're making a jacket, you will have one forepart, which is 1/4 of your body. Therefore, you can really position this on top of the ham, easily work around it without crushing the chest. Now, you can also have variations, of course, because you can make these yourself. And so here I have a ham that is representing the shoulder area. And if I'm working on a very complicated collar, I can just put this on, have the armholes go into the ham, and just focus on the collar as if the jacket is already on the shoulders of the person without me being interfered with the neck, let's say. But I can also use the reverse and I can use the curve for pressing, a very exaggerated hip shape or, the trouser bands of a suit or whatsoever. So that's that. Now, then we have the sleeve board. And although it's called the sleeve board, it's not really limited to the sleeves. It's called the sleeve board because obviously you need, to put your sleeves in there and press the seams open or whatsoever. But you can really press an entire jacket on just the sleeve board. And you can do that by just gently moving it around and working part by part without crushing, the other sides that you've just pressed. Something to note is that hams should be generally made so that they are firm, not hard, not like a wooden surface that is, sanded down to be round, but they should be similar to the same feel you have on your board cloth. The reason for that is that if you have a very soft ham and a heavy iron, your iron will sink into the ham and imprint its edges on your fabric, and that's obviously not really an ideal thing to have. So we have the point presser as the last tool, and a point presser is really made for just a seam that you want to press without anything else, or you want to get the peak lapels in there and press the seams open, make sure that the seam is really all the way pressed open to the end. But it doesn't guarantee a nice point or a nice corner. It does help, however, with that. Now the question is, which one of these are going to be really essential? Let's start with this round big ham. This is definitely going to be an important tool because it covers a relatively large surface. It's not too flat, but it's also not too round. And it will cover a lot of garments. You will be able to position a lot of garments on top of this, but also specific parts of those garments. And so I would see this as a really essential tool. But it's also good to have a longer and a narrower ham for pressing the sides of a jacket, for example, or the fronts without crushing the rest. Since I have two long and narrow hams, the question is which ones is better? Well, easy answer. This one was designed really to put the jacket on top, have the armholes go in there and work on a very difficult shoulder or a very difficult collar. Since we're not going to be doing that and we want to have a versatile all-rounder, I will remove this and leave this as one of the more essential hams. So let's get rid of this. Then we have our sleeve board. Now, a sleeve board is really essential because you're going to work on trousers, you're going to work on sleeves. You have to be able to get those pipes, let's say, into the sleeve board and press their seams open. But more importantly, you can press an entire jacket just on a sleeve board without a ham if you really have to. That instantly makes the sleeve board a non-negotiable and a very essential tool. Then we have the point presser. Now, the point presser is a nice tool to have, but it can be substituted with a sleeve board because you can still use the edges of the sleeve board to press a very specific seam. And since a pressed open seam of a corner or a point doesn't guarantee a nice sharp looking corner, we can easily get rid of it. So I'll take that away as well. As you can see, we only have two hams and one sleeve board, and that's really all you need. The truth is, you don't need a lot of tools to begin your tailoring journey. And the nice thing about these additional tools is that you can make them yourself according to your needs. So make sure to check out the next lesson because I'm going to be showing you two constructions on how to make a ham, and that's going to prepare you in case you don't have any. Now, before we finish, some of you may have an aversion towards industrialization or anything machine made. It's kind of against your passion and everything being handmade. But there is a bright side to that. And the bright side is that all those machines and those industrial procedures are designed by people just like you. If anything, being able to design a simplified tool and simplify a complex procedure will just show your ingenuity and your understanding of that procedure. So here is the assignment I have for you. Go on the internet and find tools that are developed for mass production industries, especially the garment industry, and share your findings on the community page of our website. There's an awful lot to be learned from that. Having said that, this was today's lesson. My name is Reza, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Take care.